Hello everyone, we are from group 5 and our group consists of 3 members. The first one is Riry, the second one is Jhon, and the last one is Jojo. So in this video, we are going to talk about assessing reading. Reading in this context is primarily used to measure students' learning and possibly to improve students' learning. This type of assessment usually involves the measurement of skills and knowledge gained over a period of time based on course content and specific skills practiced. In foreign language learning, reading is likewise a skill that teachers simply expect learners to acquire. Basic, beginning level textbook in foreign language presuppose a student's reading ability if only because it is books that is medium. Most formal tests use written word as a stimulus for test takers' response. Even oral interviews may require reading performance for certain tasks. Reading, arguably the most essential skills for success in all educational contexts, remain a skills of paramount importance as we create assessment of general language ability. So in this video, we will review types of reading and micro and macro skills of reading. And as you can see here, these are 4 types of reading. The first one is perspective reading, and then selective reading, and then the third is interactive reading, and the last one is extensive reading. And our group will discuss perspective and selective reading. Okay, as you can see here, for micro, the first one is discriminating among the distinctive graphemes and orthographic patterns of English. And then the second is retain chunks of language of different lengths in short-term memory. And then the third is process writing at an efficient rate of speed to suit the purpose. And then the fourth is recognize a core of words and interpret word order patterns and their significance. And then the last is recognize grammatical word classes such as noun, verb, and etc. And for macro skills, the first one is recognize the communicative function of written text according to form and purpose. And then the second is infer context that is not explicit by using background knowledge. And then the third is distinguish between literal and implied meaning. And then the fourth is develop and use a battery of reading strategies such as scanning and skimming, detecting discourse markers, guessing the meaning of words from context, and activating schemata for the interpretation of text. And then the last one is from describe event, ideas, and etc., infer links and connection between event, deduce causes and effect, and detect such relation as main idea, supporting idea, new information, generalization, and exemplification. And if you want to see the complete version of the differences between micro and macro skills of reading, you can take a look at page 187 and 188. And the next slide is the assessment of reading can imply the assessment of a storehouse of reading strategies. And here are some strategies for reading comprehension. The first one is identify your purpose in reading a text, and then guess at meaning of words, idiom, and etc. And then the third is use lexical analysis, for example, prefix, roots, suffixes, and etc. And then the fourth is use silent reading technique for rapid processing. And then the last one is capitalize on discourse makers to process relationships. And the next slides will be explained by my friend.
Hello everyone, I'm Jhon and I'm going to explain about the designing assessment task perceptive reading. Perceptive reading assessment address the beginning level of reading a second language. There are several types of perceptive reading assessment. The first one is reading aloud. Here the teacher or the administrator choose a text or short story that appropriate for the test taker's proficiency level. The test taker sees separate letter, words, or short sentences and reads them aloud one by one in the presence of an administrator. Since the assessment is reading comprehension, any recognizable oral approximation of the target response is considered correct. The next one is written response. The same stimuli are presented and the test taker's task is to reproduce the proof in writing. The next one is multiple choice. Multiple choice responses are not only a matter of choosing one of four or five possible answers. Other formats, some of which are especially useful at the low levels of reading, include stem or different, circle the answer, true or false, choose the letter, and matching. Here are the example of the multiple choice items. You can use they are minimal pair distinction and grapheme recognition task. The next one is picture cute items. The test taker is shown a picture along with a written text and are given one number of possible tasks to perform. Like this, as you can see on the screen, here are the picture, and under the picture there is a task. With the same picture, we can also present the true or false sentence identification. The test taker will read the sentence and they can check to the picture and they can see that the sentence is true or false. And also still with the same picture we can use with matching method with subjects labeled with A, B, C, D, or E in the picture, and then the test takers read the word and write the appropriate letter beside the word. For example, when in the picture you write the clock with the word D, then they will read D here. The next one is multiple choice picture code word identification. Uh, Here, the test taker read a word or phrase, then choose one of four picture that is being described. Like in the example here, the text test taker read rectangle, then they they have to choose the picture that describe the rectangle. So that's all from me. The next explanation will be explained by Jojo. Thank you.
Hello guys, I am Jojo and I will continue the presentation. So, today my topic is about selective reading. What is selective reading? It is a combination of reading and a research. This is a process of reading with purpose, and the purpose of the reading is to find and selecting the right answer for solving some questions. So, in this kind of reading or these types of reading, student will be focused on learning about the element of language like grammatical, vocabulary, lexical, and few others discourse features. So here's the kind of activities that student can use to learn about selective reading. The first one is multiple choice, and then matching task, editing task, picture curate task, and gap filling task. Both of these examples of activities could help students in learning about selective reading. The first one is multiple choice for form-focused criteria. Multiple choice task is the most popular method to test grammar and vocabulary. So, students can learn about grammar and vocabulary easily by reading. And then, they will answer some questions. These questions is a multiple choice questions that will help the student to comprehend and analyzing between one answer and the other. This is the examples of multiple choice questions. As we can see, there are two pictures of questions. The first one is multiple choice closed vocabulary or grammar task. This kind of question will help students in studying about grammatical or vocabulary. So, at this point, students have to read all of the passage or have to read the paragraph first to know about the answer. After that, they should answer the questions using the choice that have already been made here. The second one is contextualized multiple choice, vocabulary or grammar task. At this point, students will also learn about vocabulary and grammar. Same as before, but in this one, students have to read one by one about the perspective and a question between one and another. The next will be matching task. At this level, the student should simply respond and answer correctly. The most frequently appearing criterion in matching is vocabulary. So, in this matching task, teachers usually use it to test the vocabulary skill of students. Therefore, they will learn about vocabulary. This is the example of matching task. As we can see in this picture, there are both two questions that need students to match every choice that are prepared here with each of the questions that have already sentenced here. So these kinds of task is kinda like a puzzle solving progress. So in this kind of task, student will comprehend one answer with the other answer and analyzing both of them so then they could fit in each of the questions. The next is editing task. This kind of test is to assess students' linguistic competence in reading. They will be introduced to a simulation of correcting sentence in written. So, in this kind of task, students will try to correct the mistakes that happen when they are reading. So, they will increase their correspond and concentration in reading. This is the example of editing task. There will be a question about something, and this kind of questions have a mistake inside it. So, students should correct the mistakes and answer the right questions. Therefore, students will try to concentrate on every reading passage. They will increase their concentration in knowing some mistakes and understanding the right question. Next one is picture cue task. This is a test that using some kind of picture in defining or describing some passage. Majorly, a picture cue task is used to identify some kind of topic using picture. So, in this kind of task, student will define some topics and understanding some topics using a picture. So this is the example of picture cue task. As you can see in this picture, there is a bicycle and some parts that students need to identify. The difference between the previous section of picture code task and this section picture code task is the complexity of the language. Before, maybe we use the picture code task to solve is it a true or is it false. But in this section, picture code task, student should identify the correct answer by reading some of the questions. Therefore, they will analyze every kind of answer that will fit perfectly in the identified labels. The next is gap filling task. It is a converted multiple choice task into a fill in the blank task. This kind of task is to create a sentence completion system or item in studying. So this is the example of gap filling task, sentence completion task. As we can see here, there is some blank in the passage. So the objective of the student is to fill in the blanks with their own knowledge and also with their knowledge they got from reading. That is all the presentation from our group. Thank you for listening and happy learning.